Hi medals, hi people, hi new people, hi whoever you are. So today, for those of you that don't know, I'm Madeleine Munden, I'm 18 years old, I'm a YouTuber, and I have the medical condition of cerebral palsy. So today is actually my first official video on this channel, the Madalada channel, and today's video topic is about what is cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is a neurological disorder which affects movement and coordination of the muscles. Okay, so guys, I've tried speaking it 1,000 times. There's what feels like a billion outtakes of me trying to say the same thing. It's because I'm way too nervous. I get really nervous filming these videos, and so I'm going to read, basically, have the notes in front of me, because doing it from memory is way too much pressure, because I know the answer, but the second I start talking, my tongue gets all tied and stuff. So, yeah. Cerebral palsy is defined as a neurological disorder caused by a non-progressive brain injury or malformation that occurs while the child's brain is under development. Cerebral palsy primarily affects body movement and muscle coordination. That's the definition according to www.cerebralpalsy.org/about-cerebral-palsy/definition. By the way, there will be links to information that you can find on cerebral palsy in the description below. Cerebral palsy is the name of a group of lifelong conditions that affect the muscles, the coordination and the movement of the muscles, and it's caused by damage to the brain before, during or soon after the birth of the child. Cerebral palsy is actually the most common motor disability in children, which is interesting, and I found out as I was researching for this video. I didn't know that it was the most common, but even though it's the most common, I feel like there's still not enough awareness on it, and so it's good to make videos on it so that people who want to learn more about cerebral palsy can learn more, and people can be more aware of cerebral palsy, and people can understand others better. So, cerebral palsy, the word obviously, well, cerebral means having to do with the brain, and palsy means weakness or problems with the muscles. CP is caused by abnormal brain development or damage to the developing brain, and it affects the person's ability to control his or her own muscles. So basically, with cerebral palsy, we get involuntary muscle movements called spasms. That's literally when you're not controlling the muscle, but it's doing its own thing. It's spasming. So, for example, say, my arms don't normally spasm, but say this is my arm, right? Obviously I'm controlling the movement, right? I was controlling moving it, right? But a spasm is where the muscle movement is not controlled by me, it happens on its own. It's involuntary. Involuntary. For me, I most commonly get spasms in my legs because my legs are the most affected part of the cerebral palsy for me. Individuals with cerebral palsy get what is known as involuntary muscle movements. That is when you are not controlling the movement yourself, it's happening, your body is doing it, and that's because of the damage to the brain. Because obviously in a person who doesn't have cerebral palsy, their brain is not damaged, and so their brain is sending the right signals. But with an individual with cerebral palsy, where the part of the brain's damaged, it sends the wrong signals, and your body could get a spasm. I tend to get spasms worse when I'm tired, overtired. If I work my body too hard, if I fall over, chances are if I ever fall over in front of you, my legs will start shaking, and that will be an involuntary spasm. That'll be my legs sort of in a way freaking out. I describe it as freaking out because to me, it's I'm not controlling my legs, they're moving on their own, they're shaking, but it's not just shaking, it's a literal movement. It's how do I describe it? It's Obviously I did that on purpose, but a spasm, it would be the leg doing it on its own, or the arm doing it on its own, or whatever part of the body doing it on its own. There are various types of cerebral palsy, which I will make a video on, but depending on the severity and the type of cerebral palsy, everyone will be affected differently. There is not one person with cerebral palsy that has the exact same symptoms. They have similar, but it will never be the exact same. And that's because, well, various factors, the type, the severity that they have, how much of the brain was damaged, why the brain was damaged, like the cause behind it, how the body adapts to those damages. It's on various factors. And so although I have cerebral palsy and someone else will obviously have cerebral palsy, we will not have the exact same symptoms. We can have the same type of cerebral palsy and similar symptoms and reactions, but they will never be exactly the same. Cerebral palsy is considered a neurological complication because of the fact that it is from an injury to the brain that makes the muscles act how they do. So it's not the fact that the legs are damaged or the legs aren't like formed right, or like they're not. The legs themselves aren't the problem. It's the damage to the brain that causes the problems with the legs, that causes, in my case, tight muscles. In some people, it's more like of a looser muscle tone. In others, it's tremors or spasms. It's because of that damage to the brain that the body is acting that way. If there was no damage to the brain, the body would not be responding in the way it does. I'll make a video on my type of cerebral palsy and go into it a bit more, but for a basic overview for this video, I have what is known as spastic diplegia, and that is where most of my cerebral palsy affects my hips down, but obviously it interlinks with other parts of my body, and other parts of my body are affected. There's a lot that goes into it, but the main problem that cerebral palsy causes me is it affects my legs and my hips. Cerebral palsy affects the motor skills of people, the coordination of their muscles, the movements that their muscles do, how much their muscles can move, how much energy they burn. I burn way more energy than the average person who doesn't have a condition that burns more, because my body is constantly overworking itself. And obviously with different types of cerebral palsy and different causes and reasons, there'll be different ways that this affects everyone. So for me, it affects my energy levels, but for someone else it might not be as much of a big deal. But everyone's energy levels for cerebral palsy will obviously be affected because our bodies are working much harder than they should be. Cerebral palsy isn't one thing. It's actually an umbrella term for a whole bunch of disorders of the movement and muscles and coordination and motor skills. It's for a whole range of things. So when I was growing up, I used to think cerebral palsy was one thing, but I actually found out when I got older that cerebral palsy is just a blanket term, basically, an umbrella term for a bunch of different disorders that affect movement and occur from damage to the brain in infancy and early childhood. The brain is still developing, basically in underdevelopment. Some individuals with cerebral palsy, where there's damage to the brain, will have learning disabilities and difficulties. That's just because of the extent on how their brain was damaged by what caused their cerebral palsy. Not everyone who has cerebral palsy has a learning disability or difficulty, but I believe about half do, whilst half are unaffected. An interesting fact that I found out when I was researching about cerebral palsy was that more boys than girls have cerebral palsy, and I don't know why that is. I have been trying to look into it. I don't know why that is, but there are more boys in the world than girls who have cerebral palsy. I will be making a video on the different types of cerebral palsy and how they affect people. Obviously I won't be able to mention how every single person with cerebral palsy is affected, because that will take me literally forever, because every case of cerebral palsy is different. However, I will be making a video to basically a kind of brief summary of the types of cerebral palsy. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you knew everything in the video, I hope it at least was interesting, or you enjoyed it, or it put a smile on your face, or something good came out of this video. Please comment down below what videos you'd like to see. If this video was a good video, please be nice. I'm nervous. But yeah, I really hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Please comment down what videos you'd like to see from me about cerebral palsy, and how cerebral palsy affects you, maybe if you have cerebral palsy, what type of cerebral palsy you have if you have cerebral palsy, anything like that. Please let me know. If you have any questions that I didn't quite cover about something that I mentioned in the video, please let me know by commenting. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Also, thank you guys so much for my support on my introduction video. You guys are the literal sweetest, and it brought smiles to my face to see the support that I got for this channel. Like, thank you so much. Oh my god. I'm nervous because I care about this topic, and I don't want to do it an injustice talking about it. Like, I want to get across about cerebral palsy as best as I can, and that makes me nervous. So sorry if this video was a bit like apparent that I'm nervous, but I will get better as time goes on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, goodbye guys, have a lovely day.